What is the formula of a line that is perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x plus 9 and includes the point 3, 4? Well, here's what you have to do. You have to remember that a line perpendicular to this one is going to have a slope that is the negative reciprocal of 1/3. So it would be a -3. You flip the fraction, change the sign. But we don't know the y-intercept of this one. So what we have to do is use this point, 3, 4, and plug in 4 for y and 3 for x. Then solve. 4 equals a -9 plus b. If I move this over, it becomes plus 9. So I have a 13 equals b. Put that back in right here, and y equals a -3x plus the 13 we just found. And that is choice E. On number 18, two values of m satisfy the equation. Absolute value of 5m minus 11, close that absolute value, and then minus 3m equals 9. What is the result when you multiply these two values together? Alright, so we have to isolate this absolute value here on the left-hand side. And we're going to move that minus 3m to the right and make it plus 3m. Okay. Now you have to split the equation into two different ones. So you're going to keep your 5m minus 11 the way it is, but over here, just for this occasion, leave it the way it is, but on the other side, 5m minus 11 equals the negative value of 9 plus 3m. You know how you change the sign on the right side when you have to solve them twice? Well, when you change that sign on the right side and you have two items over there, you have to make the entire quantity negative. So on this side, over here, to solve this, you'll have 5m. You'll be taking away 3m to get 2m. And then on the right side, you have a 9. You'll be adding 11 to that and come up with a 20. So m would equal 10 in that case. And then over on this side, you'll have 5m minus 11, but you got to change the sign of everything on the right. 5m plus 3m is 8m. And -9 plus 11 is a positive 2. So that 2 divided by 8 is 1/4, or 0.25. So if I multiply 10 by 0.25, remember that's what it's asking for up here. What is the result when you multiply these two values together? You have to multiply 10 and 0.25 to come up with 2.5, and that would be F. In the following figure, what is the midpoint of UV? Well, to find the midpoint, you have to remember the formula. And it's x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. So the x values are -3 and 1. The y values are -7 and 8. So that would give me a -2 over 2 and a 1 over 2. So that's -1 and a half. So -1 and a half. I'm not seeing that in the choices. Did I make a simple mathematical mistake?
A.
Oh, is A? I didn't even see it in there. Gosh, bad eyesight. Yeah, A is the answer. In the following figure, what is the value of x in terms of y? Well, if you set up the Pythagorean theorem, you would have 3y quantity squared plus y squared equals x squared. If I square the 3y, I get 9y squared. And then I have y squared equals x squared. This makes 10y squared when you simplify. And we need, what is the value of x in terms of y? So we're solving for x. And if that's the case, we need the square root of both sides. So we're left with x here. And then we have the square root of 10y. Can we simplify the square root of 10 to anything other than just the square root of 10 without making it a decimal? So if you notice your answers here, it has a square root of 10 in two of them, at least partially there. What's the square root of y squared? Y. So y square root of 10, and that would be choice C. This one is sine, cosine, and tangent. And whenever you think of sine, cosine, and tangent, what type of triangle that starts with an R do you think of? R-I-G, right triangle, yes. Okay, so here's a right triangle, and I'm just making this triangle out of thin air. We don't know for certain any dimensions yet, but we do know that tangent is 4/3. Do you remember the proportion we use for tangent in terms of like opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse? Opposite and adjacent. Yeah, so tangent is opposite over adjacent, and we know that in this case it's 4/3. Let's just make this sine, or let's just make this theta here for right now. That'll be theta. And if it's opposite over adjacent is 4/3, then we know that those have to be 4 and 3 because this is opposite and this is adjacent. This is the hypotenuse. Do you remember Pythagorean triples from geometry? Well, if you don't, then one way you could find this hypotenuse is by using a formula we just finished using. Starts with a P. Pythagorean theorem. So we would do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals, and we'll just call that last side there c squared. 9 plus 16, that's 25. So c would have to be what? 5. So if that's 5, we're looking for sine theta. Do you remember what sine is in terms of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse?
Opposite, hypotenuse.
Yes, opposite and hypotenuse. So here's the opposite, 4, and there's the hypotenuse, 5. Answer is H.